Hey guys, so welcome back. So I just got the girls down, so I thought it would be a good idea to come on and show you guys how I have their All About Reading Level 1 set up. Now I am using a mixture of editions here. I know I have the first edition workbook. Okay, so the first edition and maybe the third edition workbook, along with the first edition teacher's guide. I bought this years ago, and so I'm using what I have. And so when I ended up getting new stuff this year, I went ahead and got the newer edition workbook, and I tried to make it go with the first edition. Now I know on the website it says that they will not correlate, but I made it work. It's gonna work for us. It may not work for everyone. Everyone may not like how I put it together, but it's gonna work for us because I'm familiar with this program, and I don't think it's a big deal how I have everything set up. So let me go ahead and show you guys how I have it. So first off, I went ahead and made copies of the fluency sheets for both of my girls so that they can have their own set. And then my daughter, who is more fluent in reading, I gave her the first edition workbook pages because they have more words to me. I didn't really flip through it all the way, but just my first impression, it has more reading, and she is more fluent with reading, so she won't get too overwhelmed. And she's actually my younger daughter, which is kind of weird, but anyway, all kids are different. And so I ended up giving my younger daughter the more advanced workbook pages, and then some of them I was missing, and so I ended up just having to make copies. Like this one, I ended up having to make copies from my older daughter's workbook. But for the most part, I gave my younger daughter all of the first edition workbook pages, and I just love the simplicity of the first edition. I mean, I can appreciate how they have updated things, but I don't know, I just love it when the first edition and the second edition came out, and it was just so simple. Anyway, moving on. So this is how I have their binders set up. They have their own fluency sheets in here. And so my older daughter, she has the newer edition. I want to say this is I think this is the third edition workbook. I could be wrong. Maybe the second edition workbook. I'm not sure. And so it's just a little bit more updated than the first edition. And so hers is just like her sisters. They each have their own fluency pages in here. And I think I was missing some, so I had to make copies. Because, yeah, like I said, this program I've had since my boys were kindergarten and first. And so my boys are now 7th and 8th grade. So yeah, this is pretty old, but I'm making it work because it worked just fine for my boys. No need to go out and buy the new edition if the old edition works just fine. So yeah, that's how I have it set up. The girls have their fluency sheets in here, and then inside of this binder here, this is what we're going to be using together. And I just put I think most of the activity sheets in here inside of the little page protectors. And I made copies of things like this so that they can each have their own when we do like little activities like this together. And then I also made copies of the word flippers so that they can each have their own, and we can, do it at the same time. There's no need to fight over it, or, share and take turns and whatever. This is what works for us. Oh, excuse me. And so if you can see here, this is a newer edition activity sheet, and this is the first edition. They both are going to get the job done. The whole point is to get the kids to read, and so I really don't care about the newer or the older edition. I'm just looking to get the lessons done. And so that's what I did in here. I just put the the lessons in the page protectors, and I wasn't gonna cut them up. I was gonna let the girls do that, but I remember when I did it with my boys, it was so much easier to go ahead and have everything prepped and ready to go. It did take quite a bit of time. It took me some hours to get everything set up and ready to go. But I'm glad I went ahead and did it. It's gonna be so worth it when we're going through our lessons. And so that is it. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. And then I made copies of these so that they can each have their own when we do that lesson. I want to say, I think that was it. I know most people, even myself included, when I was doing this with my boys, I didn't have 2 sets for each kid. And now that I think about it, my boys weren't doing this at the same time. Yeah. So yeah. Well, when I was doing this with my older boys, I just had everything into page protectors inside of, I want to say it was like a 3-inch binder, maybe a 2.5-inch binder. And, you know, the fluency sheets and the activity sheets were together. But since I'm teaching 2 kids at one time, I thought it would be easier to just let them have their own fluency sheets, as well as their own cards. Now, their cards, let me show you guys. Ooh, I'll set you down for a second. Okay. Now, I ended up having to order another set of cards because I wanted them to have their own cards. So this is the first edition, I think. Let me make sure. And this is the first edition cards. Yeah, these are the first edition cards, and then these are the second edition cards. And so I ended up having to take out a bunch of cards. I mean, a bunch of cards. They added in a whole lot of words in the second edition workbook. I mean, the whole student packet. And so I took out a bunch, and then I ended up having to add a few, and then I just downloaded the template on the website and printed the cards myself. I just used the first edition as my guide and went through and printed the ones that we needed. And I think it was only maybe about 12 cards or so, maybe less. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It may have been 12 or less. I can't remember. And so, yeah, I ended up having to take a bunch out and then just added in the new card, the old cards from the first edition so that it could correlate with my first edition teacher's manual. Now I have the updated editions of the, levels 2 through 4 down there, but I have not gone through and gotten those set up yet. I figured I'll do those whenever we got done with level 1. But that is it, guys. That is how I have their All About reading set up. And I guess I'll update you guys as the school year goes and goes along and let you guys know how everything works out. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work phenomenally because, I mean, I love this program and I love how I have it set up. And so I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work out just fine. I can't wait for us to start. We're actually gonna start in the morning tomorrow, the 13th. We were supposed to start the 7th, the day after Labor Day, but you know, life and work, and I didn't have time to get everything ready. And if you guys have been following me for any amount of time, you know that I like to be prepared, and if I am not organized and not prepared, things are just not going to go. And so I felt that it was best to wait to start until I was actually prepared for it. I didn't want to start the school year out and already you know, be overwhelmed. And so so yeah, so that is that, guys. I hope this was very helpful to you guys, just to see how I have everything set up. But that is it. Thanks for watching.